Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, so happy to be with you here this evening. My name is Courtney Hedderman. I'm a resident of Oak Lawn and a parishioner here at St. Catharines since 2007. I was asked to speak to you to talk about my faith and what it means, but also what St. Catherine means to me. It was very humbling and an honor to be asked to share my thoughts, so thank you very much for having me. And of course, my very first thought, especially when I knew the timing of my speaking was during the homily, and this morning when I saw Father Tom come in, I was like, oh my goodness, what could I possibly say that would be interestingly enough to hear? So I will do my very best. The thing is, I do believe religion is a very deeply personal thing, and describing someone's faith to anyone is difficult to put into words. And again, I'll certainly try my best. But for me, I think faith means believing in something, a higher power, something or someone bigger than yourself. I think I've always believed. My faith really has never wavered because I also think I've always had hope. Now, sometimes we have what I call faithful experiences, even divine intervention, big meaningful moments where God shows up and says, okay, I'm here for you. And it kind of reinforces to me my faith. So one of my recent faithful experiences came in January of 21. Our family was hit by COVID. I knew it was bad, but for me, it was pretty bad, from bad to worse pretty quickly. I was hospitalized, and I went into the emergency room thinking I was going to get some drugs and be sent on my way right away. And unfortunately, I was on oxygen in the first 20 minutes I was there, and the ER doc came in and said, okay, we're going to keep you as long as we need to and settle in. Now, if anybody does know me here, you can imagine I proudly and very boastfully said, there is no way I'm staying here. Give me what I need, and I'm on my way. I need to go home. My husband had COVID at the time, and my obviously kids needed me, and I was in my mind going home. He very much laughed at me and said, absolutely not, you're staying here. And the main reason was because I was at a crossroads, and he very matter-of-factly said, you are going to get well or you're not. And I want you to get well. So to say he scared me was pretty much an understatement. I was transferred from the ER to a special COVID floor and room. It was very scary, small, sterile, isolating, and I knew that I was in trouble. Nurses came in and checked on me every 30 minutes. It was the 3 of the longest days of my life. And I never turned on the television. I was very quiet. It was dark. I didn't have the lights on. All I did was pray. And COVID can bring you to very dark places, and I was definitely in a dark place. I spoke to God a lot, and I made a lot of promises. I asked for health, for forgiveness. I asked for my husband and children to be okay, my other family and friends to be okay, and I would trade my life for theirs if God could promise me that they would be okay if I wasn't going to make it. Then I asked for life. I knew I had too much to accomplish still. I had to care for my family, they needed me, and I wanted to continue to make a difference in the world. Really to be the best version of myself. I wanted life, and I asked God for it. Now, at one point I was crying, and a light above me that was not on flickered. I know it might sound silly, but I swear God was in that room at that very moment. He was listening, and so was I. So in about 15 minutes or so, after what I'll say is our talk to each other, the nurse came in and said, wow, I don't know what is going on in here. You've improved so fast in the last 15 minutes. Something is happening to you, and I had to come in and check on you. I knew what was happening. I was being saved. Now, I'm not sure exactly why God saved me that day and not others from unfortunately succumbing to COVID, but I do remember the promises I made that day, and I'm going to spend the rest of my days making sure that I live out those promises. Now, of course, my story just didn't start off that way, of course. I wasn't always the most faithful or religious person growing up. I think my mom became a Christmas and Easter Catholic because when she was young, she was probably in Mass about 5 times a week from a very deeply religious family, and I think she didn't want to kind of pressure her kids the way maybe she felt. Now, I can appreciate that. She gave us some significant foundation, but allowed my brother and I to kind of choose for ourselves. So when it really came around to me, it was not really until I was in my 20s. We had a family friend pass away, and I was sitting in a funeral mass, deeply saddened, and essentially walked out changed. It was the most beautiful, beautiful send-off to someone's life. And if anybody actually knows Father Lawrence Malcolm, God rest his soul, he was the one who did the funeral that day. And I cannot remember everything he said in that mass, but I wish I could, but all I do know is how I felt. And I felt very good, and I wanted to feel that over and over again. And it's quite really ironic and absurd, if you think about it, that someone passed or died, and I really became alive. After that, I was a regular, found my favorite pew, became a Eucharist minister, even became a member of the school board of the parish, and I didn't even have kids yet. I really was fully immersed. It sounds silly, but I think I was being prepared. I met my husband, Jim, shortly afterwards, and my life was really starting to take shape in a lot of ways. We married in a gorgeous church service, bought a home here in Oak Lawn, and began our family. Now, don't get me wrong, my faith has certainly been tested multiple times. I think it's pretty normal and based on many circumstances, just like the ebb and flow of life. I have been bored at times coming to church. I've really been tired of doing one more thing and would skip mass to maybe take my kids to their sports. I have completed many to-do lists in my head listening to the gospel. Sorry, Father. I have played peekaboo and waved to adorable children to distract them from crying. And I certainly have questioned the church at times, and I have most definitely questioned God on why he would take my most favorite people on earth way too soon. Then I come here to St. Catherine. I remember stepping into St. Catherine for the first time. Father Pat Henry was the priest, and my mother-in-law actually used to babysit him as a child. And he was my husband's family priest. And I remember him very vividly praying over Jim and myself and giving us blessings of children. At the time, I didn't realize it, but that day, St. Catherine became our church, my second home. And now it's not just mine, it's my children's second home too. And my daughter, Catherine, who's in 8th grade and one of the cantors tonight, and Nora's in 6th, and Mary is in 5th. They love it here. And it's not just for them being in school, it's for them being in church. I see how happy they are here. They love being a part of the Mass by singing, by playing chimes, doing a reading, obviously bringing up the gifts, or even being an altar server. They have immersed themselves here, but not because I've asked them to, because they feel that they belong here. They have been welcomed. St. Catherine has made room for them and welcomed them, and it's really a wonderful witness. When I walk through the doors, I look around, and I look around tonight, and I see lots of love. St. Catherine shows me faith never fails, never wavers, and it grows every time I walk in the door or we walk into the door. Now, I see and hear so many wonders. Our older parishioners holding hands, guiding our traditions, the young kids excited to participate in the Mass, younger kids running up to participate in the children's liturgy that happened at the 9:30 Mass this morning, and it was adorable watching all these little kids run up, very excited. And I look around and see beautiful sights. We have candles and incense burning, our amazing statues, beautiful flowers, this gorgeous altar and tabernacle, our beautiful stained glass windows. And sometimes I'm in here and I see that there's so much light shining through those windows, and I swear I think God is just saying, hey, I'm here. I am here with you. Just look for me. We have a lot of unsung heroes here. Ushers, lectors, gift bearers, altar servers, all this gorgeous music from the choir. And have to give a shout out again to Catherine and Nora, who are both in 8th grade and have done a fantastic job tonight already. Obviously, our wonderful volunteers and helpers, Mr. Caffey and Miss Ward, Patrick, all these wonderful people that are here, as well as our wonderful priests, including those that maybe not are here every day, but are coming in as guests and being wonderful priests. So, Father Tom, thank you for being here tonight. We have so much to be thankful for. So thank you to everyone who does something to make this place be what it is. Wonderful. We all have a part to play. And when we walk out the doors, we represent the best of St. Catherine. We are very lucky. I do fear we do take it for granted at times. I think I do at least, but I try not to, and let's try not to. Let's be as present here as possible. We have so much to be proud of. Now, I do believe God hears amen wherever we are. However, if we open up our hearts, I think he hears us most in church, the sacred place of worship. Going into any church, I think you feel a bit differently, even holy perhaps. And when you leave Mass, even tonight, I hope you feel like I do. Just better, calm, peaceful, and you can tackle anything the day will bring because it started off so well, or in our case tonight, it's ending on the best note possible. If you think about it, in church, we're also never alone either. If you close your eyes and allow yourself to feel, Jesus is not just on the cross. There he is next to you, sitting in the pew, holding your hand, telling you he loves you so much. I don't need to tell you to come to church more often. You're already here, which is wonderful. So no guilt for me. All I can say is do things that make you feel joy, calm, and peace. If you open your mind and heart, you'll see it is here. There is room for you here at St. Catherine. And look for me too, and we will share in this joy together. Thank you so much.